Yeah.
Welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission. Okay, so I have to tell everybody sitting here, and I'm afraid it's going to be like screaming into these microphones, but we are not able to turn on the speakers because we have feedback. So the speakers that are in this room, they get feedback on that. So when we're talking, and they're going to be filming it and recording it. But when we're talking, we need to talk loud enough so that the people that are here can hear us. So that's, for everybody. So I call the meeting to order. It is 6:02, and let the record show that all City Council is here with the exception of Councilman Feaster. And Zoning wants to call theirs to order?
Yep, we can call the Planning and Zoning Commission to order at 6:03. All present with the exception of Omer.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's just remember that we're going to need to use our cheerleader voices when we're talking. So, Scott, we're going to get a presentation and discussion this proposed redevelopment of property located at 180 Highland Village Road.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Commission. The city's been approached by Cook Development regarding a proposed redevelopment of the property located at 180 Highland Village Road for single-family residential. Mr. Terry Cook and his associate are here from Cook Development and will present the council and the commission with the presentation. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Cook.
Lori, can we not turn that microphone on because I can't hear?
Sorry?
I said, can we turn that microphone?
So that's what we was just talking to him about. We're going to mute all the rest of y'all until you're ready to ask any questions, and then we'll turn on the podium mic so that they can hear the presentation.
Thank you. I can hear it.
Yep. Are we on, or do I even need it? Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, City Councilors, Planning Commissioners, staff, and guests. It's really a pleasure for us to be here. Oh, I think that just turned on. As was said, my name is Terry Cook. My partner is Vic Nicolescu. Just so that you know, Vic is a returning Texan after being exiled in Oregon for over 20 years. So he's glad to be back from the land where people usually rust but not tan. He's enjoying being back here, and it's a great little city. So as for me, I'm really appreciative of being able to be here and present to you, and I appreciate your time because it has come. And I just want to say that living in Oregon for about the last 50 years, we are used to being surrounded by water. But it's usually the kind you need a raincoat for, and it's 9 months of drizzle. So when I first laid my eyes on Lake Louisville, I thought, aha, finally, here's a body of water we can enjoy without a raincoat. But who knows? I did, just to be careful, I brought my Oregon rain boots, but not because of mud, but because I knew I had to cross some 100-degree pavement. So it's a little different here than it is in Oregon, but we have so much liked what we have enjoyed or discovered here. So a natural question is going to be, who are these guys and why are they here? And I would like to say those are really good questions. And we're going to do a little PowerPoint presentation for you so you see what we're thinking about. But to get to know us a little bit, Vic, would you mind sharing with everyone who you are and why you're here?
Sure. I grew up in Southern California, moved to Oregon in the early 2000s. I lived in Oregon for about 20 years where I entered the real estate industry. I was involved in 4 development projects in Oregon where we built a total of about 175 homes. My wife is from the Texas area. We relocated back to Texas for her and back to Texas for me as well, because I lived in Houston briefly, but back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area about a year ago to the day. We moved here on April 30th of last year, and we're happy to be living in Highland Village. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks, Vic. As for my background, I spent the first decade and a half after graduating from the University of Oregon in landscape architecture, doing landscape design and construction. I shouldn't have said Oregon, because Texas and Oregon are going to battle it out this year in a big way. But that's going to be a fun thing to watch. Midway through that 15 years, I had an opportunity to turn the desert into a garden. So I went to Saudi Arabia, and I was a project manager on the landscape and irrigation works on the King Khalid International Airport just outside of Riyadh. At the time, it was the largest physical airport, not the busiest, but the largest, and the garden was just like it. We had 400 or 500 men working for us, mostly third country nationals, and it was quite an experience. After 3 years, I left Arabia, came back, started to develop luxury apartments for the same Saudi that I worked for when I was in Arabia. And about 3 years later, after developing a couple hundred units for him, I got that entrepreneurial bug again, and I had to go out on my own. And for the last 38 years, then since 1988, I've been developing properties. They're moderate size, small. I've done historic rehabs, affordable housing apartments using all kinds of funny money, tax credits and bonds and all kinds of grant money. But mostly my heart has been in developing really nice neighborhoods. So that's what we want to do tonight, is show you our idea, our thought, our vision for how we would like to see the neighborhood shaped. You guys live in a wonderful little city. When I first started doing the apartments in Oregon, they were being done in Lake Oswego, not a town unlike yours. Lake Louisville is similar, 10 times bigger, but it's just a high-end, nice neighborhood, wonderful families, great buildings. So what we would like to do is look at one of the remaining parcels in the city. It's just about a 6-acre lot, and we were proposing an 18-lot subdivision. The reason it is so light in terms of density is because of the flood line, the 537 line. As was mentioned, it's at 180 Highland Village Road. So this is the site. As you can see, we've got the ranch here, the Doubletree Ranch Park. That's a major significant area for the city. That's not us, but we are right there. So all that this picture shows is, is the outside of that Villa Riva site. It's to the right is the full site, and you will see that as we go over here to this survey. So the existing conditions, there's an existing house, and what attracted me with my background in landscape design was the number of existing trees. There are 76 post oaks that are anywhere from 10 to 40-inch caliper. There are 70-plus sugarberries of all different sizes and clumps and clusters. We've got cedar, elm, ash, pear, mulberries, all throughout the site, plus a little bit of open area, which is really sort of nice. So I'm going to show you some pictures now of the way it is. You'll recognize this right away, I'm sure. So on the left, you'll see the Highland Road looking east, and there's Interstate 35. You see the overpass. And from the same entry, turned around looking west along Highland Road.
Highland Village Road.
I'm sorry, Highland Village Road. See, I'll get it, but I appreciate that.
Important.
It is important, yes. This is the site. You'll see the house in the background, but this is one of the few open areas that are not covered by trees. As I said, there's a number of post oaks all the way through the site. And in fact, you'll see that the existing driveway curves around a cluster, which I would like to try to save if at all possible. This, I want to point this out because if you look along here, this is the western property line, and there's an existing subdivision of nice single-family homes on the west side. We are proposing to be able to screen that to respect the privacy of the people that are living in those homes, and they've been there, some of them, as I understand, for decades. So the park-like setting is what really attracted me. I think we can do some really nice stuff there by respecting as many existing trees as we can. This is a view looking to the south, right towards the lake, and you can sort of see the lake right back there. And that 537 line is approximately where the fence is. Anything on the far side is on that flood zone area. So this is just one last picture looking back out, and you'll see how that existing driveway curves around that clump of oak trees that's up near the top. Current zoning is SF12. We are proposing an SF8 under a PD, a planned development type overlay. And here's what we're thinking. It's a little hard to see, but hopefully you can. I will show you the east side lots. There's 6 of them until you get to this one big one. And then across you have another big one, and then the other 10 that are coming up, a total of 18 lots. Here's how they lay out. East side lots range from 7,200 square feet up to 32,000 square feet. Take out that lot 7, that's an anomaly. So most of those lots are between 7,200 and 8,000 square feet. The west side lots, again, if you look at lot 8, that's that big one. That's the 28,000 footer. The rest of the lots are all 7,800. You'll see there, there's one at 88,000, a couple at 9,000, and then 8,400. And the reason for that is because where we curve this road in order to avoid the trees here, we have extra deep lots. On the other side of that, just to the opposite, we've widened these lots out to 70 feet because they're not quite as deep as the others, because we still wanted to give a good amount of land for everybody to build a home. Our vision is this. We wanted to create a highly desirable neighborhood with beautiful homes. We want to preserve what is there. We want to enhance it by landscaping and create a great place for people to live. So I'll run through quickly the lot development standards. The minimum dwelling would be a 2,500 square footer, air-conditioned space. It doesn't necessarily include the garage. Maximum density is about 3.2 units per acre. We've got maximum height 35. That's pretty standard. That's to code. The minimum lot area in this case would be that 7,200 square foot lot. Most of them in the 7,500 to 8,000 with a few big ones. The maximum lot area is, as I said, that 32,000 square foot lot. And the minimum depth would be the 103 feet, and that would be lots 3 and 4 on the east side where the road curves around. But those lots are wider than the others. Of course, 20-foot front yard minimums. We've got side yards. Now here's a bit of a departure maybe from what's standard. We're looking at the possibility of doing some of these lots as 0 lot line. So there'd be a 1-foot setback on one side, 9-foot setback on the other. This would provide an opportunity for access to the back with a carport or a garage that would be attached or detached in the back of the home. I'll show you here in just a minute how that works with a standard lot. Standard lots, 5 foot on each side yard setbacks. Minimum rear yard's 20 foot. Corner lot, again, it's that 15 foot in from the adjacent Highland Village Road, and maximum lot coverage at 50%. Minimum lot width, we'd say, is 60 feet. It's either 60 or more. And then parking, a couple of parking spaces either in front or behind that front setback line. So that's a lot development. But let's look at how that might work. If you see these two lots, and this was just a little sketch that I did real quickly, these would be zero lot line, where you'd have the garage in the back, in this case, or a carport or a porte cochere on the side, with the front yards fully landscaped. The next one is a standard lot, and it could be adjacent. We have not yet decided exactly which lot is which, but the standards would have front garage or a side load garage, either one. So these can work together. You don't have to have all one or all the other. We think that there's a possibility, and as we dig into this, we really want to make sure that it's done to fit the market for the area. So let's look at the site development standards, not just the lots. What we want, what we envision, is a really beautiful neighborhood where the fronts are all connected, coordinated, landscape-wise. So we would have an aesthetic commonality between all of the homes up and down the street. And you'll see as later we'll propose an HOA that these front yards will be maintained by the HOA, so that it does this. It creates a beautiful place. We are against somebody doing, let's say, a xeriscape and have rocks all over the front yard and somebody else trying to make a beautiful one. So we want this to look connected and coordinated aesthetically together. We're going to put in new trees. Even though we have 150 trees on site, we'll put in a couple of trees per lot that will be highlighted, and you'll see that with lighting in a minute. Screening, we'll put that, particularly the west side, an 8-foot either board-on-board, privacy fence, or a composite material that will stand up to the Texas sun and heat, and that will provide great visual screening to the homes next door. And then, of course, there'll be the landscaping in the backyards. The entrance will have a stone/brick combination so that it's set off. You can see it. It'll look great. We'll be landscaping in the front and some kind of signage with on that entry monument identifying the Villa Riva. The home designs will be custom. There's nothing coming out of a book. They will be designed to fit that particular lot. We hope to have, I don't want to see any cookie cutter type homes. Everyone should have their own appearance, their own look. Lighting, as I said, we'll do post lamps. We'll put the street lights in that we have to put in. We'll use a decorative light there as opposed to the old Cobra light. We will also include post lamps throughout the subdivision, and then highlight that with both well lights under trees to light them up, because a tree can become almost a light in itself, as well as wall washers and wall sconces on the buildings. In the evening, a beautifully lit subdivision is just charming. The lighting makes it look very inviting. Common areas we do have, and it will be down on the lakefront in the flood zone area, and we'll provide some amenity for the homeowners. I'm not going to get out ahead of them and say you're going to have a dog park run or you're going to have a playground. We don't know the nature of the population that will be there, so they will have that decision. We will establish a budget, probably $20,000 in that range, to build something. And then it'll be the homeowner's decision and how they want to do it. And that's at the very end. There says homeowners will establish what they want to accomplish in that common area. So basically, Villa Riva, our vision is that we're going to create homes for families. We want multiple lot configuration options so that it could be a single detached, it could be a 0 lot line, you can have parking front or back. We want flexibility because we don't want to tie the builders down to just a single product. We want it to be a livable place with many options. We'll look at multiple home styles, as I said. They will be custom designed, not a cookie cutter out of a box. 3 to 5 units, mother-in-law, suite, ADU, maybe. I don't like the ADU idea other than a casita possibly. That might fit better. But at the end of the day, the site, the location is just excellent. I mean, you're, what, a quarter of a mile from the freeway? Easy on, easy off. There's still plenty of space for sound. There's no railroad trains coming through. It's a gorgeous little site. And I think it would be a great addition as Highland Village builds out. This could be a real nice, I think it'd be a highly desirable place to be as well. So here's some ideas. Like, you know this one, it's Tequesta. Every picture, with the exception of this bottom left, that I show you, has been designed and or built for what's called narrow lot subdivisions, 60 feet or less. So the Tequesta has, I mean, beautiful homes on a small lot development, if you will. You've got the options for rear garage on a 0 lot line, for instance. You've got a side load garage on this lot. These are all at 60 feet or less. Here's a few more ideas that you can begin to get the flavor of what we're thinking about. These are front load garages. You can have a 2-car garage, but let's take this one that's right here this is another Tequesta. You could have a 3-car garage by simply putting in a tandem. So on one stall, it's 2 deep, and then the next stall is just the 1. So you could end up with a 3-car garage with a 2-car front, 2-door front. Again, options. We want to provide the maximum flexibility for doing something beautiful and creative. We're not looking to alter the lifestyle. We want to be part of embracing change. Change is going to be there. And we want that change to fit the Highland Village life. So with that, questions and answers. Be happy to take any questions that are there for either myself or for Vic.
I have a list. I mean, okay. Well, thank you for coming in. I went through all your stuff. The one thing, I talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors asked for more information, and no one called them back. And there's been no community meetings. So just moving forward, I would suggest to talk to the neighbors. When they're not, no one's against change, but please call them back. That's my one note. Okay, so let's get to, how many developments have you done in North Texas yet?
In North Texas? None.
Okay. So our flood development, our regulations for drainage, and I come from a land development world, so I'm getting into the technical, but our we don't allow streets to have more than 1 foot and a little bit above the curb for flood depth, right? So do you know, when Lake Louisville floods, which happens often, all of that's underwater, and your proposed layout puts a street with 7 foot of fill in the flowage easement. That's not allowed. I talked to the Corps of Engineers. You have to maintain the grade. The flood elevation is 537.
Right.
Your road juts out to the 630 contour. So that nose is gonna have to be pulled back. Just FYI. So you really need to coordinate with the Lake Louisville people. Because right now what you're proposing to maintain, we can't have a fire truck 7 foot underwater. We have to make sure our cul-de-sac is higher than the 100-year floodplain. Because it's a one-way street, one way in and out, and that cul-de-sac could be life-saving. So just, that's a note. Will you guys provide a tree preservation plan prior to? Or, because these are kind of, there's a lot going on, so are you realistically going to be able to save the trees within the developable lots, or is it mainly saving the trees on the lakeside?
There are almost no trees on the lakeside until they're sugar bears. The big ones, the post oaks, are all up on the high side. So yes, our intention is to save as many trees as possible. When a home goes in, you're going to have to take some out, probably. But we will design those homes, or have the builders design those homes, so that they fit. That was the key principle that we wanted to follow.
Post oaks are really sensitive in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
But you have a landscape back there. I will tell you from my experience in land development, 0 lot line homes make for bad neighbors for many reasons. It's a 1 foot, but drainage is really the big issue. You've got to drain the water from the back to the front of those lots, and you need 10 feet, 5 foot on each side to get that swale in. So I'm just letting you know that in our experience in North Texas and mine, 0 lot lines make for bad neighbors, just my 2 cents. You were asking for 1 enclosed garage space. I don't think any development in Highland Village, it says right here, 2 spaces behind the front building line, but it doesn't say enclosed. I thought I read somewhere it had 1 space, but just, no, we do 2 enclosed spaces.
That's not a problem.
Will you just deed restrict the homes to where the ADUs cannot be rented?
Hadn't thought about it.
Because if you're.
Is that an important thing?
I'll let everyone comment. I'm just saying an ADU is that's making
Yeah, I
it
know.
complex. And you have to have separate meters, separate everything, and that's not single-family zoning. So I'm just putting it out there. What kind of land, do you plan to landscape along Highland Village Road?
What kind of, excuse me?
Are you going to put landscaping along Highland Village Road and a screening wall or anything?
Yes, yeah, I said there'd be a wall all the way along and landscaping in front, if that's allowed. It'll be in the public easement.
Well, no,
Can
the
that
wall will
be?
be on your property.
Well, from the sidewalk in to the property line.
The landscaping might be, but.
That's what I'm saying, the landscaping.
No, typically the
All
landscaping,
right.
we're not going to maintain it. The landscaping needs to be on an HOA lot that you maintain. So that's something to think about in your setbacks. On your improvements for the area, do you expect the city to take over any maintenance costs for any of your amenities or anything?
We intended, I think, for the road to be built to city standards.
No, I meant the amenities, like in the park area, in the lake.
No.
That's all be HOA.
No,
maintained.
the intent would be that it's maintained and funded by the HOA.
So you say that the homeowners association will establish everything they want before the HOA documents, but in order to sell a lot in Texas, you have to have the final plat filed.
Of course.
And the HOA lots, documents are due before the final plat's approved.
Of course.
So, well, I don't know how
Yeah.
they can help you.
Yeah.
They don't own it.
Yeah, no, I know that. We have done condominium. And before we can ever close on a property, before final can be given, we have to have an HOA, and we will have.
Well, are the HOA agreements, are they approved before or after final plat? Scott? So they have to be approved before the final. So is this a?
Oh, yes. No, we would, okay, so there's a final landscape plan, there's a final engineering plan, there's a final HOA. All of those would be submitted before finals of any subdivision. What we're trying to establish, or at least get a feedback from, is what are those areas that we need to pay attention to? Does the concept fit with the community? And if it does, we will take the next steps, which will be.
My question is, just you
Yes.
said that the homeowner will
Yeah.
come up with it.
Yeah.
I think it's really, I mean, from what we've seen before, it's moving in the right direction. I'm just more of the technical issues, and your really big
course.
issue is the flowage easement.
Yeah.
They're very sensitive about that at Lake Louisville, and you can have no cuts. You got to maintain the grade it's at. So we need our fire
Yeah.
trucks above the 100-year floodplain.
Yeah, so we met with a civil engineer today, just, informally. We've talked to a couple of them for preliminary advice. And any of those issues will be addressed by the civil engineers, and they certainly know exactly what criteria they have to follow.
Right.
Yeah,
The lake is the big one.
of course it is, yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
If you
Any
will,
other-
please, sir, could you go back to the sketch of the homes that you had, that you showed us
You
earlier?
mean of the zero lot line?
Zero and the
that one?
standard, yes.
Yeah,
I would like to get a little bit of clarification on the zero lot line.
Yes.
From my reading and viewing of this, you're asking for the variance for a zero lot line to allow for a rear entry garage or separate garage, number one, just to have the space to get by the home.
right.
The lot line, the 1 foot off of the property line was established to keep the home off the lot line, number one, but the adjacent property would not be abutted to one. You would not allow that in the development. That would be set aside. You would not have two properties that were within 1 foot of their property lines.
Absolutely not.
Back and back.
No, I mean, the point of a zero lot line is, if you think intuitively, two side yard setbacks don't do much. They're access for lawnmowers, that's about it.
Right.
You can't do much other than that. But if you had a 9 or a 10-foot space, that allows a whole nother option.
So your development then, when the builders come in, if a builder wants two lots and tries to put two zero lot lines together, you would push back on that then and not allow those to be
Well,
abutted.
okay, so that would be, see, there's your zero line there.
Correct.
Here's your zero line here. So
Yeah.
you got two lots that are considered zero lot line.
Correct.
Now, the question might be, what happens when you get a lot that isn't a zero lot line? And you wouldn't put that, this is how that would happen, where you would have a 5-foot side yard setback, the dashed lines on both sides, and it goes next to this guy. So this actually is 9 and 5, it's 14 feet at that spot. And then you can do another single 5-foot, both sides on the next lot and the next lot and the next lot.
Right.
So that can continue, that pattern, if you will.
And my concern then is not, I wanted clarification on the zero lot line that you would not abut them. But
No.
what would be the percentage of properties that would be allowed as zero lot line?
That's a fair question.
What we don't want is the majority of them being zero lot line.
Yeah, and nor do we.
Or the-
Can I try to clarify?
Sure. If you don't mind, could you get up
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we can
yeah.
hear you, please? Thank you.
Even on zero lot line lots, the minimum space between homes will still end up being 10 feet. Does that make sense? In other words, there's the 1 foot, on the side that has 1 foot plus the 9 next to it. In the situation showing the two left homes, there would be a minimum of 14 feet. So you can't have less than 10 feet however you configure it.
So any of the configurations in the entire development, you would
Correct.
not have less than 10 feet between
Correct.
properties?
In other words, we would never have two zero lot line lots such that the 1 foot portion was next to another 1 foot portion, where you would only have 2 feet between homes.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would that be, excuse me, would that be other than the rear garages?
Beg pardon?
The
With that-
rear garages would be on that lot line?
They could be on the far lot line. If you look at, just conceptually, this two-car garage, it's backed up just as the house is. It's backed up to that 1 foot line. That would provide enough of a radius, it's tight, but that would provide enough of a radius for that car to get in and out of there. Now, That's a lot of driveway. And I don't know how many builders are going to be that excited about it. But if we have a custom builder who loves it and he's done it before, I've been involved with other zero lot lines. They can be absolutely stunning and an absolutely beautiful use of property, but not everybody will like them. So if we don't have, we will not build the homes ourselves. We're preparing this for local builders to build. And if they say, yeah, we're not interested, then the answer to your question, how many, it would be 0. But we don't want to say it's impossible if somebody comes to us with a grand idea for 5 homes that are in those center lots, and he has a vision for how they can work, and we don't want to have to say you can't do that.
But I think to that point, I don't know that having an entire subdivision of 0 lot lines
Right.
is what I personally would want. And that's
Saying you
to
don't want
Brian's.
the community to have.
For the-
community doesn't want everything to be 0 lot.
Well,
you're
exactly,
saying.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, I haven't talked to the community about it, but I can't, I'm afraid that if there's not a percentage put in there,
Yeah.
that then what would regulate the 0 lot lines?
Fair question.
Yeah.
No, I don't have an
Something that we need to
opposition to
address.
that.
Well, when you file your final plat, you have to determine your drainage easement, so you're gonna have to
Of
decide
course.
then.
Oh, we will design this well ahead of that. It will, our next step, we are, just so that you know, this is all part of our due diligence. We have not bought the property yet, and we will not buy the property if it doesn't make any sense to us to do so. We're not land speculators. We want to create a neighborhood, and if we can't do that, then we don't want to proceed. So our next step will be preliminary engineering. And at that point, we will sit down with the civil engineers and say, help us figure out drainage issues, all of the technical pieces that have to work. I don't envision many more than maybe a half a dozen of, oh, shoot, let me see. Maybe if I can find that site plan again. Let's go back to the site plan. There. So I can envision a group of homes right there, a 0 lot line, and maybe 3 or 4 homes here. These I don't, those I don't. And obviously the guys down at the end I don't. And the reason, again, it's to try to take advantage of the site. And if we can do homes and lots that fit the site as opposed to, denuding it and then saying, now build whatever we're going to build. That's the intent. And we don't know that for sure. And I apologize that we don't say, this is what we're going to do. But what we're trying to do is find out what's going to work for the community, what works for the city, and what works for the market, and do that so that it's not just us cramming an idea down.
So my last question is regarding the flood line. Those 2 large lots where the flood line goes through, is there enough available space to place a reasonably sized home in there and give it yard?
No, that's a very fair question. We are working from a survey which showed the 537 line. Now, the next step that we have to take is to actually plot that line on the ground, according to the civils guys that we have spoken with. We may find that we don't have enough room. We may find that we have 4, 5, or 6 feet more than we thought we had. We just don't know yet because it has to be field staked, from what my understanding. But the intention is that there will be enough room on every lot, especially those 2 big lots, for at least that 50-foot wide house, which would fit on any 60-foot wide lot with 2 5-yard setbacks. That was the intent when we laid out the concept.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good job on the presentation. The homes are beautiful. The good news is I'm not an engineer. My questions are from the perspective of a homeowner. If you guys are building behind my house, what would my concerns be? You mentioned it fitting in the community. You don't want to shove something in that doesn't really fit. So it's kind of an issue for me is comparability, right? and density mainly. By its very nature, SF12 is 12,000 square foot lot, SF8
right.
is 8,000 square foot lot. So density, from my perspective, might become an issue. And you mentioned ADUs. This is what I found interesting. In your deck, you have ADUs are encouraged as standalone or attached units. But you sound like you were kind of indifferent to them or even against them to some extent. What's your thought on these ADUs?
ADU has, unfortunately, it's loaded in terms of its use. ADU can be assumed to be sort of, you're going to put this in and we're going to cram density down your throat, as opposed to like a casita. It's something that is yours, you live in it, you can bring a second family in, a caregiver. Boomers are getting older, and there's a whole bunch of us out there. And our kids are bookended with boomers on one side, parents that they have to take care of, and kids that they're trying to raise on the other side. And we're trying to address that question. How do we create a home that person can stay in, possibly with a caregiver, or even taking their mother-in-law, father-in-law, father, mother, whatever, and bring them close so that they can live with them. It's not so much, a government-driven decision. You're going to put in higher units and make higher density. Now, coming from Oregon, they want an ADU in every backyard. It's never been my goal. I just didn't want to say you can't do it.
How would these compare to the homes in that area?
Vic,
Or maybe you haven't looked into it yet.
I can, but he has really a good handle on a number of subdivisions here.
I'd say that the area that we looked at the most for inspiration or what's possible on 60-foot lots is probably the Tequesta subdivision. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but all those lots are 60, they're all 60 feet wide, maybe about 110 to 115 feet deep. All of them have front load garages, double door or two single doors. I think a couple of the homes have tandem 3-car garages. And they're all the homes are 2-story. I want to say they're probably an average of 2,500 to 2,700 square feet. And it's a really nice community of 11 homes. No ADUs that I'm aware of, no zero lot line homes that I'm aware of, and I think it looks great. So
What about in that area, though, where these are going to go?
So the area to the west, directly to the west, I think was subdivided probably in the 70s or 80s. The lots, that zoning is SF12. Then there's a large development across the street. I think those were also probably built out in the 80s. SF10 or SF12? Earlier. 70s, earlier. So is that SF10 or 12? I don't remember offhand.
It's SF10 north of you.
And some 12.
SF12
Right.
east of you, and SF12 west of you.
Right. So, I think the homes directly to the west are all single-story, which I think was pretty easy to pull off when you had very, very large lots. It's a little bit harder to do now. Most of there's not a lot of new development in Highland Village in general, but again, the Tequesta subdivision was done about 6 years ago. And the only thing that made sense then, obviously, was 2-story homes.
So this is the trend, basically, right?
It certainly appears that way. Unless you have very, very large homes, very, very large lots in Bartonville, where the lots are a couple $1 million apiece, and at that point you can build whatever you want. But land has certainly become very, very valuable in Texas, like it has just about everywhere else. And with so little left in Highland Village, the figure we've seen is it's 97% built out. So there's not a lot of vacant land sitting around waiting for anything to happen to it. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I was going to say, just a comment. Tequesta has been very successful. David Weekley I don't know if you went over and saw those. Very similar, okay, from a layout, very successful. Lantana, have you been out to Lantana?
Into Lantana,
Okay,
love
I mean,
it.
the beautiful, I've got friends living in Lantana, is the maintaining the front yard by the HOA. It's a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood.
It's exactly what we're planning.
Well, that's why I looked at it. So, I mean, I think it's different than what you have in a 50-year-old neighborhood, okay? But it blends and brings a enclosed community, okay? I do like the idea you're putting shielding on the right side. I think there's currently fence all along that west side, okay? So
6 foot.
Okay.
We plan
So-
to-
But it's not changing that, so from a visual standpoint. You know, concept-wise, I think it's where we need to go. I think we're not going to see ranch homes coming back in the Highland Village anymore. The economics don't work. And if we don't do that, and this is just a cautionary tale, if Austin has their way, we're going to have 1,450 square foot lots pushed on us, and we won't have a choice of what we do. So, and that's happening. That's happening in Louisville, 1,450 square feet lots.
Lots,
Boom, 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 and you don't
not
have a choice.
houses?
Tiny lots.
If you have a
450 square foot.
population over 150,000, then there are no regulations, basically.
Yeah. So I'm just, you know, cautionary tale for what we have. So I think, you know, Councilman Hurst has a number of, you know, things that need to be looked at, okay? I agree, watch the drainage, okay? You know, good neighbors, but it's been solved in Lantana, it's been solved at David Weekley. So for me, I like the concept, and I think that there's a lot of people that want that home.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
so-
we believe that a lot of objection can be overcome through design.
Oh, yeah.
And if you do it right, people love it.
Can I just make a comment about what you said? I think it's a lot easier to accomplish just about anything when you have large tracts of land, and very, very difficult when you have this sort of constrained 6-acre parcel that's left over, a third of which can't even be built on. So it just really limits the amount of things you can do, both economically and also physically.
I mean, the beauty here that I see is having a park at the end of the street. Okay, people are going to love that. Edgewood, and right to the next door, they just added 6 lots at the end of that street.
Right.
Okay, changed the configuration a little bit, making use of it. So we're not going to have ranch-style homes going on those lots.
Right.
Okay, so we already have change coming into the neighborhood, and I think that change is going to continue. So this is a way to get in front of it. So I'm not a voting member. I've got one more meeting. So I can, I'm just
I
offering
appreciate your comments, I really
citizens
do.
input. Citizen input.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Quick question. Can you, I'm going to use one of your slides as an example here. Go forward. It was when you were showing the examples.
Of the 3 lots?
No, you showed
the
the
houses.
examples of the houses, and you had like one, I wanted to see the front load garage where you had a car parked in front of it.
Yes.
And it's one of my concerns with 20-foot setbacks.
Okay.
Next one.
All right. Next one?
Yeah, next slide.
Okay.
Go right here. Okay, so if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, my concern with the 20-foot setback is you got about 3 foot of grass, 4-foot sidewalk, which leaves you about 13 feet before you hit the sidewalk. Texas likes their trucks, right? My truck's my truck's a 20-foot truck, which means I park it in that driveway, I'm going to be blocking the sidewalk. Are you planning sidewalks in the neighborhood?
That is a truck, isn't it?
Yep, and it's on the sidewalk.
Its back end is in the sidewalk.
So now you've got kids that would be using the sidewalk, which would now have to go into the street. Now, I realize it's not a busy street, it is a cul-de-sac, but still, from a safety factor, you know, that's one of the concerns I have with 20-foot setbacks and front-loaded garages and sidewalks.
Well, in most parking lots that we design, you know, you're anywhere from 9 foot wide to 10 foot wide. Texas is probably 12, which is very good. And they're usually anywhere from 16 to 18 feet deep. So a 20-foot will get you there. That means that he's going to have to pull his truck up a little closer to the garage door to get it out of that sidewalk. But his truck is not going to be over 20 feet long, unless he has a triple axle or whatever. But generally speaking, you know.
I'm just saying, just a consideration, you know, as you're looking to, you know, design.
That's a Tequesta house right there. What's interesting about all the garages in that subdivision is they're all 18 by 20. So there's no room to park that truck inside the garage.
Right.
Therefore, it has to sit outside the garage. Therefore, it encroaches into the sidewalk.
Oh, I completely get it. I'm just saying, from a design perspective, we got to,
So one way to address that is perhaps to make the garages 22 feet deep, 23 feet deep. At that point, you would think you could park just about any non-commercial vehicle in there. Maybe.
length versus height.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like lift kits.
Yes.
Sidewalks required?
One other comment towards that is that when I went through the lot development standards, 20 foot was a minimum. Wasn't a maximum.
I'm not talking about minimum standards. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, with 20 feet, you put 7,
Got it.
you're at about 13 foot before you start parking on top of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'm just,
You got your trailer hitch.
I'm just.
Yeah, with the hitch, yeah, watch out shins, right?
So, I'm just-
Scott, are sidewalks required? Scott?
In this area,
Would they be required in this area?
they're not close enough to a school, but are expected as required sidewalks.
Okay.
Is this a rural, are you going to do a rural section or a curb and gutter section?
Well,
Rural, so bardages?
right. No, not the curb and gutter. Isn't that the language, the terminology? Urban, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, so the sidewalk would be on the lot. There's no room for the sidewalk if you have the bardage.
Well, we've got a 30-foot wide paved travelway, 10-foot PUE on both sides, so there's 50 feet. And then there's a 5-foot on either side, private utility easement.
So you'd have a 50-foot right-of-way. So you'd have, the sidewalk would be, because you need that 10-foot will hold your bardage.
Yeah,
So it would be on the private, it would be on their property.
on the private property.
Which, again, the Texas Transportation Code says you have to have 20 feet to park. So that would put your driveway at 25 feet.
Yes, and those lots, as you could see, are 130 feet to 135 foot deep, particularly on the west side. So we have plenty of room to move back and forth that way. They're not so much on the east side, as you recall. That's why we widened out those lots to try to compensate for that lack of depth. But 100 foot is still pretty deep
I mean, I know
lot.
I've been super technical, but that's my thing. I mean, everybody here knows that's my thing. And I've been designing subdivisions for multiple decades. And I think where you're going is good. I know you've got your neighbors on the west and with two-story homes. I think just having conversations with them.
Sure.
Just to make sure and that happened when Barnett came. It took 3 rounds. I don't think that would be the case here, but just get with the neighbors, and that's some of their, if you have a 2-story looking down, kind of different things, the screening, replacing the fences and all. So I would highly encourage you to really reach out to them. And we have a wonderful meeting place at Doubletree Ranch.
Yes,
where
they
you
do.
can have the neighbors show up.
Walk to it.
I think you would get a lot more, and I think it would be a really good to just get in the depth of, because we've had residents that lived there almost 50 years. And
That's what I hear,
trying
yeah.
to help you really absorb the neighborhood, bringing something new, and it is a change, but if everybody works together, you get a much better product.
That's right. No, I have no opposition to that. I mean, we've done that a lot. So engaging with the neighbors, that's why one of the reasons that we don't want to just cram down homeowners the improvements in the common area. We want them to be able to select what they want. What's of value to you? That's what we will try to accommodate. And meeting with I'm really pleased to see so many guests here. Obviously, there's an interest in what's going on. So,
Have a hand raised of those who live on Edgewood.
Yeah.
Who lives on Edgewood? Edgewood?
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah. So I would highly recommend after this meeting, you
Great.
get their phone numbers.
No, I'd love to do that. Yeah. And somebody, was it you, sir, that had your hand up? You had a question at some point? Yeah.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Sure, he asked you.
Mike DeFritz, I live across the street on
Yes.
Redwood. Could you go back to the zero lot line? I just had a quick question, two quick questions. I was looking at your plot plan here. So how many of the plots have a 60-foot width?
Well, let's go back.
I mean, I'm thinking
Basically,
three on the east.
yeah, let's go, I think,
All but one are 60 foot, you've
Yeah.
got one 70 foot, two
Right.
70 foots.
so we have,
I have it right here.
the two 70-footers are right here where, see where this bend
Yep.
is?
Yep.
That one and that one are 70-foot wide because they're less than that 120 deep. Can you see that?
Yep.
These four, 1, 2, 3, those three are 60s.
Yep.
This one doesn't matter.
Yep.
Nor does it matter there. These, basically, I laid out this
All those are-
entire line
Yeah.
on a 60-foot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you got like what 3, 4 on the east.
Well, out of 18, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 14 that would be at 60.
Okay. And then could you go back to the zero lot line
Yeah.
picture? So I know you said the aggregate would be 10 feet between the houses.
Right.
What happens, so that the plot on the far left there, where you've got 5 feet on each side.
Right.
Would you allow a zero lot line to go in just to the left of that? So where there would be 1 foot plus 5, so 6 foot?
On one condition. On one condition.
Hold on, one condition. Tell me more.
Reverse those homes so that the left-hand side, you would have a 5-foot plus the 9-foot. But then you'd have to continue that all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there will never be two,
Okay.
not going to happen.
So it must be 10, and you can't get, you're not going to allow the 6.
That's correct.
All right,
Texas
thank you.
Fire Code requires minimum of 10-foot separation from all buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody else
No, the
have any
9
questions
from
on
one side,
planning and
1 from
zoning?
the other. There's 10
Oh, I have
or
a question.
14. Yeah. Did I miss somebody? Yes, sir.
I realize that you're not going to be actually building the houses. Do you have a projected price point for the properties?
That's,
No. And I realize as builders come in, it's going to be possibly a variety of builders, and they can do what they want.
yeah.
So,
But we do have the intention of interviewing a number of, I won't say the, 7,000 square foot mansion builders, but we want high quality, custom builders. Yeah. This is not a site for mass production.
Right.
D.R. Horton, sorry. But, we don't, that's not what we're after here. We're after a custom built community with houses that they're willing to take some time to design to fit, fit the lots and fit the trees.
minimum square footage was 2,500, if I remember right?
minimum.
Okay.
We think that it'll probably be closer to 3,000 on average, but we wanted to provide, if somebody came in with 720 feet, we didn't want to say you can't do that.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Oh,
Yes, sir.
Anticipate a price for the lots because you're going to be selling the lots.
We will be selling those lots to the builders, yes.
I think he wanted to know if you had an anticipated price on the lot.
We've kicked around a lot of ideas. Vic?
I guess it depends on what you pay for it since you don't own it yet.
Well, that's, yeah.
Trying to figure out how much the development cost is going to be, engineering,
Yeah.
all the underground work, so it's just a little premature, that's all.
They're not going to be $100,000, I'll tell you that. So, if we could only get 6 lots, of course, that changes all the calculus.
Okay.
We're not, as council, we're not allowed to tell you what, we can't make you set a point or anything, that's all, that's. it's not
Understood. And we're not trying to evade it. I mean,
allowed. We're not allowed to ask it, and we shouldn't really. The market will bear it.
yeah, and that's it. We want something that will fit. We don't want to build lots and mark them so high that nobody can afford to buy them. I mean, that would be a real foolish thing for us to do. So we want to make it so that it works for builders, for the homeowners, for us, for everybody. Yeah. And maybe put a few $1 million worth of value in property taxes back in the city.
And we do like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was trying to calculate. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Streets,
Is what
water,
the,
and sewer, so all your amenities on you.
Really? But I have a picnic table I'd love you to restain every year. Really? Okay.
There's a reason why we don't do it.
Well,
Well, I know they do it, but our budget says you can take care of that.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, then that's just the way it'll be.
council, does anybody else have any comments? I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Parker, okay. Okay.
Makes a comment on it.
You started your presentation, you made a comment about the purpose of zero lot line. I'll tell you what the true definition of zero lot line is for. It's more for your.
Is it premature?
For you, more density per acre. You can get more lots on that plot now than you would if you go, more than the zero lot. So it's your benefit for the zero lot.
Well, I don't want to argue with you, but that's not true. You look at, there's 18 lots, you're going to have 18 lots, whether they're zero lot line or full side yard setbacks. It's math, sir. It's just the way it is. We can't cram any more in.
Okay. Council, does anybody else have a comment?
If you look at it, if you take a house that's got a 5-foot setback on both sides, and then you shift it over by 5 feet, all of them shift, you still got 10 feet.
That's right.
Just that it shortens the one side yard to the other, makes the other one bigger. So it works out to be the same. I know what Wayne is saying, in some developments, zero lot lines may be crammed more, but that's not what's being presented here.
It's just when you have a zero lot line, you need to work out all the easements in between, because when somebody wants to get the roof redone, which we get done often because of hail, roofers got to get on the neighbor's property, and if they don't like each other, it don't end well.
I've never heard of that. Neighbors that don't get along.
I have a question for Scott.
You're right.
The existing lines, water lines, sewer lines, and everything over there, do they have the capacity for expansion for this development?
Yes, because it's designed, it wasn't designed for hiking.
That area was? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Tequesta, you mentioned that several times. Tequesta's, all of those houses are designed where there are no windows above the first floor on the back of the houses. And all the windows look into that neighborhood and everything. So that looks like an excellent way to infill an area where we all have single-story houses and
Adjacent.
two-story houses 20 foot off our property line.
Yeah.
No windows back there makes it much more powerful.
And a creative, home designer, and we do have one in this audience, I won't mention it, but they can figure out how to design those so that just exactly what you said happens. Yeah. Right, Giuseppe?
All right. Well, P&Z, do y'all have any more questions, comments? Council? All right.
So there's one more question.
I'm sorry, I see it.
Sure.
Drainage back there is another thing I'm concerned about. Building those homes back there will mess up with the drainage somewhat, and also trees. You start messing around with the trees and all those blackjack trees, what are they called, oaks? They're gonna die.
Post oaks.
If you do anything, trees are gonna look nice for a year or two,
Yeah.
3, and they're gonna die. Because once you disturb those roots, we've had experience.
Right. Well, for the most part, we will do everything we can to stay out of what's called the drip line. You know, the tree canopy, that drip line is where you want to stay out of. And as I said, in some instances, it'll be impossible. We'll have to take some trees out. But the nice thing about that curved road, if you recall, is that the driveway is there, and it's been there for what? 30 or 40 years. So those oaks that are growing real close to that curved driveway, we aren't going to touch them. We're going to widen it out, and we're staying away from those trees, and that's why we're shoving the road further to the east, making those lots a little bit shallower. but we can create that road, that curve, and preserve those trees without, trying to dig up right next to them. But yes, I'm very sensitive to, how to preserve trees.
In the drainage too, is that an issue?
Yeah, well, anything that affects soil, for planting or for, water retention, any of that, yes. And through the civil engineering process, we will address those issues. It's just a little premature for.
Pretty close to the floodplain in that area.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Landscaping, you said the HOA will maintain all of it. Will you look at more low water use landscaping? Because we go in and out of water restrictions and all, so will that be something you look into? Not xeriscape, but just something that's not as heavy on our
For 40 years, people have said, I want a low-maintenance landscape. and so things like lawns, beautiful, but boy, do they suck down the water. So, yes, I'm very sensitive to that. I live on acreage, about 7 acres, and every 2 months I get about a $1,200 water bill. Yeah, I have a 2-acre garden, but you know what I mean, highly landscaped. So I'm very sensitive to the cost of water. That will be one of those criteria for picking plants, native plants if possible, instead of the exotics. Anything that's going to be less demand on water or fertilization, for instance, any kind of inputs without just filling your front yard with rocks.
All right, well, if there's no other comments, questions, then I would just like to say thank you so much for coming in and for presenting this. Obviously, you've heard a lot of good comments, a lot of good suggestions, not only from council and planning and zoning, but also from our residents. And as you can see, we are a very active community. And so it's really important that, to Rhonda's suggestion, that you reach out to the residents and meet with them and get their thoughts, because they've made some good comments
Very good
also
advice.
tonight. So.
And I let me say again, I so appreciate your time. You can do a lot of other things on a Tuesday night than come down here and listen to.
On Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
On Cinco de Mayo.
On Cinco de Mayo. I mean, there's margaritas waiting. I mean, come on. So I appreciate the fact that you would take the time to come down here. And I especially want to thank staff for working hard to put this joint meeting together informally. I understand that it's not something that happens a lot. So, thank you. I appreciate the time to be able to come and show you our vision and get some feedback. And that's exactly why we're here, is to get the feedback so that our next steps make some sense. I just needed to know, should we take the next steps?
Well, I think you're on, like it's been said, I think you're on the right track. We like single-family homes. So I think, again, you got a lot of good feedback, a lot of good comments, a lot of good suggestions from our engineer.
Yes.
From both on staff and on council engineer.
Wonderful.
And, but we appreciate you bringing this and presenting it to us.
My pleasure.
And
my pleasure.
We wish you well.
Thank you. And if anybody would like us to have your name, number, please come on up and just give us your name, number, and we'll be happy to reach out to you and put something together for a meeting.
Make sure y'all do that. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
again.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, council is adjourned. We're adjourned at 7:10.
Planning and zoning adjourned 7:10.